everybody, Keddy with Unity Gain. How you guys doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? So generally what we've been doing so far down at Jeff's studio, Stone Puppy Records, is recording all of our songs down there, and I play the drums that are down there. Those are Josh's drums, his son Josh. So we're going to take Josh's drums out of the studio and we're going to put my drums in the studio, and I would rather play my drums because they're my drums and I'm just more comfortable with them. I just bought new drum heads today. I'm waiting for the mail to show up. I'm redressing the entire kit. I'm currently using a 7-piece Mapex M series drum set, but I'm going to be setting it up as a 5-piece. So I'm going to use a stand system instead of my rack system. And I just have a lot more limited space down there, and we want to make sure everything fits and I can still play the way I need to be able to play. If you look at this picture right here, you'll understand why I can't use my rack system. I just don't have the space. I haven't used stands on my drums since about a year after I bought them, which was 2006. With that said, this is going to be my drum setup. So my kit is a 10, 12, 14, 16 tom arrangement with a 20-inch bass drum. I'm not going to be using all of those drums. I'm going to be leaving 2 of those out. So we're going to do a 10, 12, 16. I wish I had a 13. I don't have a 13 for my mid-tom. There's certain tones you get with a 13. But the way Jeff's been miking stuff and what we've been doing, I have no doubt it's going to sound spectacular, so I'm not too worried about it. But this is an 8-inch. I've got 2 drums down here that the brackets on here are stripped out, and I got to order the new parts for them. So for today, I'm going to swap them out off of camera, fix them. But this will be a 10, 12, 16 with a 20-inch bass drum, and then a snare drum of my choice. I didn't order snare drum heads because I got 5 snare drums, and not all of them really need replaced yet. But the drum I've been wanting to record with is this one. This is my Orange County Percussion snare drum, and I haven't recorded with it yet. I've used it a few times in church and it sounds awesome. I love this drum, but I'm anxious to record. If you recall, I made a video about my snare drums and hand percussion a while back, and I talked about this drum, why it's unique. The shell on this drum is a 21-ply shell. You can see it's about 1.25 inches thick. It's a pretty thick shell. That's why this thing weighs so much. This probably weighs 25 pounds. And it's got cast hoops, and it just has a good, nice, tight, clean sound, and I really, really like it. So I'm anxious to see what it's going to sound like. But that's the beauty about snare drums. You can have as many snare drums as you want, swap them out for the sounds that you're looking for. If you want a real vintage, warm sound, you grab a wood drum. You use a wood shell drum that's a thin ply. I've got a classic 1955 Slingerland Radio King over here that I got a really nice vintage sound out of it. If you want a higher pitched tone, I got a Pacific Drum Company drum over here that's 10 inches, but all the other ones I have are 14 inches. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. And then cymbals, I'm going to do a set of 14 hats, and I'm going to do probably a 16-inch crash, and then I'm going to do my ride. I might do an 18-inch crash. Cymbals. I'll have another crash over here as well. So let me tell you about my cymbals. I manage a paint store, and it's right down the road from a steel recycling place, and a gentleman from my church named Carl worked for this place. And Carl's a great guy. Anyway, he called me one day and he said, hey, he says, I got this young kid that came in and he wants to recycle a whole bunch of old cymbals. I bought them for $60. Do you want to look at them, see if it's something you're interested in? Absolutely. At the end of the day, at least if they're not any good, I'll still give them $60 for them, So anyway, he came down, showed me all these cymbals at my store, and I took them inside, got cleaners out and started cleaning them up. Man, he brought me like 16 cymbals, and there was a vintage set. Now, none of these cymbals were new. A vintage set of 14-inch Zildjian cymbals. The kind I like, the kind that aren't subcategorized like the K series or the AXX series or whatever these cymbal manufacturers have all these subcategories. back in the day, Zildjian made a 20-inch medium right, you got a 20-inch medium right, and you could line them up and listen to 5 of them in a row and they all sounded different. That's the cymbals that you want. Those are the ones that sound the best. So this is a non-categorized cymbal. It's just a 14-inch Zildjian set of cymbals, and they're old and they sound amazing. And so then I got like this 22 or 24-inch Zildjian ride cymbal, and oh, I love the sound of it. I'm currently using it at the studio. When you hit it, it just sustains and it's not offensive. It's that warm, comfortable sound. It just washes over the drums. It's just beautiful sounding cymbal. And then I got all these other sizes in between, like some 14s, some 18s, some 16s. There's some splash cymbals, a 10-inch. All in all, I've got about 14 cymbals. I got such a smoking deal. So I made him a deal. His wife and him were doing some painting in the house, and I gave him some paint, paid for their paint. My daughter's a barista. I gave him a $30 gift card for some coffees, so while they're painting, they can take a break and go get some coffee. Anyway, it turned out really good to his favor as well as to mine, so we're both very happy about it. And yeah, I'm excited about experimenting with the different cymbals that I got, because I have yet been able to do that. So anyway, with that said, this is about the 4th time I've re-recorded this video, because guess what I didn't do? I didn't hit record. So like we always say in a tagline, don't forget to push record. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Enjoy the time-lapse video that I have accompanying this. See you later. Bye. Well, I'm back. The day's moving on, and I got my drum heads, and so we are going to continue to put on drum heads and try to somewhat tune them up. I can't be pounding on them too loud. I got neighbors, but enough to get a tone out of them and stretch them out and whatnot. So that'll be fun. So let's take a look, see what we got. I've got a couple of them that are going to be here Wednesday. So they're not here yet. So I bought a 3-pack, and so we've got, that was fun. So I got my 10-inch coated, my batter side, a 12, and a 14. And I like to use the Remo Ambassador Coated. It's fun. I gotta try not to hit these light stands and microphone stands. Okay, we got a 10-inch, a 12-inch, and a 14. These are clear ambassadors. They're the bottom. $16 for my floor tom, the bottom head. So fun. So bass drums, I've always used Evans drum heads on my bass drums. I'll show you my old one here. I threw the batter side away because it was just split and it was just a mess. Anyway, it's the EQ3 system is what I would always use. The EMAD system. This one is the EQ2 resonant head, and this is what I've been using on my front of my bass drum in black. It's got these vented holes right here that release air, and when they make these, I read about them, when they make these, those are in a specific spot for a reason. That's where the best release of the air is. With Jeff's miking technique, I haven't had a coated resonant head for a long time, but I couldn't find one with this type of a hole in it for the mic technique that Jeff uses. Because what we do, Jeff puts a microphone stand all the way through here and puts it right in front of the batter head back in the back and mics the inside of that head, and it gets the click of the bass drum, the attack of the bass drum hitting. And I couldn't do that with that other one that I've been using because it has those vent holes. So Remo's vented hole that I found on Amazon was the larger hole, and I don't like those, and I wanted the smaller hole like this. So I went ahead and I went with the Evans. Tried and true, I've been using Evans for a long time for my bass drums. So there's my bass drum head for that. Big box. Oh! I went with the same batter head on the bass drum by Evans that I've been using for a long time. Big box. Oh, nice shot, Kidman. So this is the EMAD system that they make, and I'll show you what's so cool about this. This is the batter head, but there's a foam ring inside of it, and that slips right underneath of that. And that's for dampening the head when you pound on it. And so I usually just use the small one, but it comes with a thicker one. I bought this because I really like these heads. And what we're doing is kind of jazzy rock blues, and blues is used a lot with these kind of heads too. So these are more appropriate for the kind of music that I do now, and that's why I wanted to give them a shot. So I'm excited about this one. This is going to be fun. All right. So those are the drum heads that I got today. I'm only missing 2. I'm not doing any snare drums today, just the drum set itself. So I'm gonna set up a time-lapse thing, and we're gonna at least do 1 or 2 of these things and get them going and see what we got, all right? So let me get some lighting situated and we'll get into it, all right? All right, well, here we go. We are starting off with the 10-inch drum, and got my clear Ambassador. I'm gonna stick that on the bottom of the drum. Now, generally what I've always done in the past, I've always lined the logo up with the sound hole. And on this drum, the sound hole is underneath that mounting bracket. So might as well do it the same way that I've always done it. Get over top of the legs here. You put your hand in the middle. I always usually use a fist, and you push really hard, and hear that cracking? You're pre-stretching that, because if you don't, what happens is you get it all tuned up, and as the tension happens on the head, they stretch and they give, and then you're constantly tuning more often. And once you do that, go ahead and get that tension that you like. That's probably good for a bottom head. So we got the bottom head on. Let's do the top. All right, the 22-inch bass drum, pre-cleaned, and I have a dampening system. If you see this Velcro in here, I'll show you what I have here. I bought this thing years ago. Evans makes it. You can still get it, but this goes on here. But what happens is this just touches the bass drum head, and when the bass drum beater hits it, it bounces back, and then it comes back again. This little nylon hinge, and it just kind of mutes the head. It's a momentary release, so you can get a little bit of ring. With the EMAD system and all of this foam that you get with it, that helps lower some of that resonance as well. So with this system, I find that I don't put this so far in, like it'll sit like this. I'll move it back, and so as the hinge goes down more, and it just touches the edge, and you get a nice drum tone out of it. But we got to put the batter side on first. So, let's see if I can keep my head out of here so you can see. So when it's full forward, there it is against the head. But if I come back, it's just going to hit it a little tiny bit. Just enough. Yeah, just enough right there. That's all there is to that. Evans on the bottom. To tighten this, a lot of times I don't use the drum key. I just put my weight and I tighten by my fingers and let go. So the other side sounds like it's not done, but not bad. That's going to be a nice steady sound. All right, that's how you do it.